What is going on, guys? Welcome back to another Monday night edition of our FSI breakdown here. We have the Cleveland Browns and Baltimore Ravens. So let's get into this slate. There's some nice value. It feels like we've had the Ravens on a lot of these slates and just a lot of these teams that have the running backs by committee. You have the Niners, you've had the Ravens on there a couple times. It's kind of a mess, but let's get into it. If you have not subscribed to the channel, please do so. That is the best way you can repay us for this content. Go ahead and throw a like at this video. We appreciate it. We have a lot of other great content on our channel right now. If you're into DFS soccer, Alex Hooper doing a DFS soccer recap, which has been pretty awesome. Yeah, I like that. EPL, Gator Guys got an EPL preview for tomorrow now that we're going to get some EPL in midweek. So let's get into the slate here. Browns and Ravens. Ravens are 3-point favorites here, over under a 46, which, this is a AFC North battle. It feels like anytime any two teams from the AFC North play, it's like a big rivalry. So it should be a fun one. So let's start on the Baltimore side of the ball just because they are favored. Lamar Jackson probably will be, per usual, one of the most, highly owned players of the slate, of any showdown slate that he's in, just because his running upside is just really tough to fade. Obviously, he's had a down year. You look at the passing yards. I thought I read somewhere, like in his last how many games, he's only had 2 games over 200 yards passing. Obviously, that's not where he gets most of his fantasy value, but just some of those passing struggles in general have been there. So on the Baltimore side, we do get Mark Andrews back, who is obviously one of his favorite targets, especially around the red zone. I still think 8,800 is expensive for him. I don't know. It just seems like, yes, it is a phenomenal matchup for him, but I do think you are needing probably a touchdown from him to pay off that price tag. Here's where we get into the wheel of running backs for the Ravens. So J.K. Dobbins had 11 carries last game. He had a touchdown. He was 8,600, so he actually did pay off his tag. But if you would have told me he was only going to get 11 carries, I think it would have been hard for me to actually pay that much for him, right? You go down to Brown here. I love the targets in the last couple of weeks. 8 targets. He had a touchdown last week. I think for the savings, I don't know, 7,400. I think I like Brown a little bit more for the savings and also a really good matchup. So, but again, if you think Dobbins gets there on limited touches, then I don't know. I think at 8,200, I want like 15 or more. And obviously, game script can definitely change that. But they are going to give the ball to Gus Edwards. Ingram is still healthy. So, and I think Hill even played last game too. So I prefer Brown probably as my next one in here, just off of before actually building. But Willie Snead is back at 5,800. He's been hit or miss. He's been decent. I wouldn't say it really takes away, like even our Andrews and Snead being back, I think it more or less helps somebody like Brown because they don't just stack the box and double team Brown or something like that. Gus Edwards at 5,200. Again, 7 carries, 101 yards. Do I think that repeats? No, they just like crushed Dallas on the ground. So I think Gus Edwards is again more in these other ranges when, maybe the 5 to 10 range. If he gets in the end zone, he pays off his price tag. If not, probably overpaid for him as well. Ravens defenses are always, kind of in play. It's just not something that I love to go to. Tucker is obviously Mr. Automatic usually. So he's really nicely priced at 3,800. Mark Ingram last game, 6 carries, 1 catch, 2,800. So again, like 6 carries, 6 carries, 11 carries, and Edwards had 7. So, and this was in a really positive game script for running the ball because they were beating up on Dallas and running really easily too. So here is the decision that like a lot of people, if you look back on the optimal builds, I think from the Dallas game, a lot of people in cash went Duvernay because he just had a little bit higher floor, didn't have like game logs of 0. And then Boykin catches the Catches the 38-yard touchdown, at $600. And then, obviously beats Duvernay, I think, who had, what was it, maybe a catch or two? Yeah, one catch on one target. Now, the interesting thing here with Duvernay is that like the opportunity is there. So like 80% of he was on the field for 80% of the game, 44 snaps, just not getting the targets. So do you take somebody with a little bit more upside that they might throw deep to Boykin for a TD, or go for Duvernay just on the field more often? So at 1,600, if you're going to get 80% of the snaps, I think you should be able to pay off that price tag. Is it certain? Probably not. I don't know. Oh yeah, he had a catch. Justice Hill had a catch. So, I mean, he's still even finding his way on the field too. Wilson, not really considering with Andrews back in. Des Bryant is out. So let's get to the Cleveland side of the game here. We have Chubb at 10-2. Will be super popular. It's a decent matchup. They're going to keep pounding him the ball, feeding him the ball. He's probably my second favorite cash play behind Lamar Jackson. Baker Mayfield, a lot of people calling him out, and then he went berserk last game with 33 points. I think in cash you can get to him, but I don't think you need him. But I think you're going to be maybe like not sure who the third best guy you want in is anyway. So I think that's okay. You don't have to pay for him. I think Landry is going to get enough of the target share that I do like him at 9,400. The matchup is not amazing because he'll probably, it'll just be a tough matchup in general. And then Kareem Hunt, somebody again who's been average at best with Chubb back, so nothing that I love there. We have Rashad Higgins, who, in this game, obviously they were passing more often at 40. I don't expect this to be a 41-35 game, which is why I don't love the passing attack for Cleveland here. I think this is going to be a run, slow down game that we don't see a ton of scoring and not a lot of yards to the air. But 6,200 feels GPP to me. Peoples-Jones, somebody who kind of replaced, he had that long touchdown, 75-yard touchdown, replaced who's injured, Hodge, who's been starting, who I liked, but is out again this week. Hooper is expected to miss, and you have Bryant here at 4,200, which is a nice price tag as well. The Browns defense is in play. Cody Parkey's in play. Njoku finally had his first catch since like week 8. But the best value on the slate is likely for me going to be Marvin Hall. He's finally been, activated. So I think he was claimed off the waivers and he was the Lions this year. He's been catching the ball. I think $200 if he's going to be the number 3 receiver, likely, 3 or 4 receiver. Well, let's see. We got Higgins, Landry, Peoples-Jones. I think Hall sees the field a little bit. If you're not that confident in him seeing the field, then don't play him. But I think Hodge would be seeing the field. I know Peoples-Jones is taking a little bit of that, but I don't know, at $200, I think he can get a catch or two and pay off that price tag. So we'll see. I think he's probably my favorite value of the slate if you're not playing just kickers, and you might not even need somebody at 200 either. So just to kind of recap this slate: Chubb, Jackson, and then I think you're really deciding for me between that second piece for Baltimore, probably Brown, and then maybe, that's why Baker kind of seems okay here, because he's Baker or Landry, because they actually have a decent floor for not loving the rest of the mid-range here for this game. I'm likely fading Dobbins and just the Baltimore backfield because I don't know who to play, and I feel like I'm paying up for guys that I don't need to. And Andrews, I think, just needs a touchdown. I know it's a phenomenal matchup, so I can't tell you not to play him, but I just don't love it. And my favorite values are the kickers: Duvernay, Boykin, and Marvin Hall. All right, thanks a lot for listening to another edition of our FSI breakdown here for Monday Night Football.